Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Lindsay Ortman, for those of you who do not know who I am, and I am coming to you today and introducing to you my master course, Flexible Dieting Macros 101. And I'm going to teach you the ins and outs of flexible dieting and macros, and going to provide you a whole lot of value, and I'm so excited that you are here with me today. But again, for those of you who do not know who I am, again, Lindsay Orton. I am from Eugene, Oregon. Me and my husband own and operate a personal training facility here in Eugene. It's called Genuine Fitness. We are both personal trainers. We also are promoters of the one and only INBF natural bodybuilding show here in Eugene called the Cecil Phillips Classic. And yeah, I have been in the health and wellness industry for 20 years now, which is crazy to say that out loud. 20 years seems like a long time. But I have, myself, I have tried every single nutrition, diet, plan out there. I have been through the extremes and beyond. And I am excited that I have found food freedom with flexible dieting, and that's why I'm so passionate about sharing that with you as well. I'm a 12-time bodybuilding champion, and this is the same nutrition system that I have all my clients do to achieve their goals. And so with this type of nutrition information or nutrition plan, basically you can use this at any stage of your health and wellness or weight loss journey, whether you're trying to shed fat or maintain your weight or just, live a healthy lifestyle. This is the key. Flexible dieting is the key to all of those goals, because it allows you to enjoy foods that maybe on other diets you wouldn't be able to. It's all about moderation being the key, and learning how to make nutritious choices as a lifestyle. And you can still, with this type of nutrition plan, you can still enjoy life, which I love. I'm a twin mom, and so I have birthdays, I have, kids around, I have lots of things going on, and I can still live life, partake in, festivities around me, and reach my goals. And so I want to share with you how you can do the exact same and find that food freedom to where you never have to feel like you go on a diet again. And once you learn how to do this, you're gonna be happy. I guarantee it. Because nobody likes to say 0 carbs or say no to carbs. Nobody likes to say no to chocolate or to that slice of pizza every once in a while. And with this system, you do not have to say no ever again. All right? And that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna teach you how to do this, okay? So today, this is gonna be a 6-module course. So for today only, we are just going to talk about what macros are, kind of go over what macros versus calories are, and then share a little bit about how to track macros. So we're not gonna be talking about how to calculate your macros just yet, but this is just to kind of depict what are macros, how is it different than counting calories, and how do I track my macros? So we're gonna just jump right in, okay? All right, so macros, what the heck are they? Let's backtrack. Calories. So it does all start with a calorie, and I think most of us have heard of calories before, right? So we all have heard of what a calorie is, and basically calories are just, so the word calorie is a measurement to the energy in your food. So it's the amount of energy in your food. So say you had 100 calories worth of chicken and you had 100 calories worth of a donut. Well, it's 100 calories and 100 calories. So the calories, 100 calories and 100 calories is the same. But when you break it down, the nutritional value of that 100 calories of chicken or a donut, that's going to be different, right? And so that's where macronutrients comes into play. I'm going to share a screenshot with you. Let me find it really quick. hands. Okay, so let me blow this up really quick too. So we're looking at the screen. All right, so we're gonna break it down a little bit. So it all starts with calories. So again, calories is just the energy in your food, okay? But those calories, where do, when we break it down, that's where macronutrients come in. So macros for short. So your macros or your macronutrients, that is your protein, carbohydrates, and fats. So all calories can be broken down into substrates, which again are going to be your protein, carbohydrates, or fats. So when we talk about that 100 calories worth of chicken or a donut, 100 calories is 100 calories. However, the nutritional value of where those 100 calories come from are going to look completely different, okay? And so this is where the nutrients are going to come from. Is it coming from a protein source? Is it a carbohydrate? Is it a fat? And some people don't know that, and so what those even are, protein, carbs, and fats, and don't know the difference, and we'll get into that too. But that's where we're kind of distilling calories from macros. So when we're counting calories, we're only counting calories. We're not really counting where the nutrients are coming from. And so say you were on a diet of like 1,500 calories per day and you ate 1,500 calories worth of donuts. And then person B eats 1,500 calories worth of chicken. Do you think that's gonna be the same in terms of the nutritional content of where those calories are coming from? Probably not, right? Well, it's not a probable factor, it's absolutely not. So when we're counting calories, it is all about calories in versus calories out, but it matters also where those calories are coming from. So that's where we start tracking our macros. And then when you break down macros, we also have a substrates of your macros or macronutrients are your micronutrients. So this is where the macros are going to be broken down into your vitamins and minerals, so trace elements. And then I have down here, once you have all those figured out, then the magic happens, okay? And then before I jump out of here, if you notice on the side of the screen, I have some information for you here as to the caloric value of your macronutrients. So protein, carbs, and fats, they all contain calories. However, each macronutrient caloric value is different. I know this is going to get confusing for a minute, but it'll all make sense in the end, okay? But for every gram of protein is equal to 4 calories. And carbohydrates, every 1 gram of carbohydrates is also equal to 4 calories. 1 gram of fat is equal to 9 calories. So you can already tell that fat is a very calorically dense macronutrient. And then I have listed here alcohol. Alcohol is not an essential macronutrient, but I do still like people to be educated. And so for every 1 gram of alcohol, that is going to be equal to 7 calories. So you can see alcohol is very calorically dense and is also not something that works very well when you're trying to lose weight. You can fit it in and I can teach you how to do that, but and that's another story, but we're talking more so about the protein, carbs, and fats here, okay? And I just wanted to give you the alcohol's educational value. So again, starting from the top, calories are just your energy, the energy of your food. So we break down calories into macronutrients, protein, carbohydrates, and fats. And then you can break those down into micronutrients, which is where your vitamins and minerals come from. And then when you have that knowledge, that's where the magic happens. So I'm going to jump out of here really quick. All right. Okay, so seeing that information, it is important to understand that it is the big picture when you're trying to lose weight, especially, is calories in versus calories out, okay? But where those calories come from is really what's going to make the difference in your results. This isn't necessarily to scare anybody from stepping away from eating carbohydrates, because carbs are very important. But for every gram of carbohydrate, your body holds 3 grams of water. And so say you had 1,500 calories worth of bread to make up your 1,500 calories. And then another person consumed 1,500 calories of chicken. Well, you're gonna be holding extra water because all of your calories came from carbohydrates with that bread, whereas protein doesn't have that same effect. It doesn't make you hold water like carbs do. So again, another reason why knowing nutrient composition of your foods is going to be important. Okay, let's see here. What am I gonna check my notes here for 1 second so I don't get too far off track. What I wanted to do was kind of depict each one of those macronutrients for you really quick too. So I want to give you a little bit of information on protein, carbohydrates, and then fats. So with carbohydrates, we need carbs, all right? So do not be scared of carbohydrates. I see way too many people going on like keto and low carb diets, and where I do believe that those have a place, it's not usually for most people who decide to go that route. So our bodies love carbohydrates, and we can still achieve amazing results with carbs, but our carbs are going to be our body's main energy fuel source. So we need carbs for energy. And so it's the first macronutrient that our body is going to utilize as a energy fuel source, okay? We also do need carbohydrates for proper hormonal function as well. So don't be scared of carbs. It's just a matter of making sure that not all your macros or your calories are coming from carbohydrates, and knowing how to choose carbohydrates that are going to be a little bit more maybe beneficial for you. So more nutrient dense carbohydrates, wholesome type of carbs. Okay, protein. Protein is a essential macronutrient that so many people have a hard time, I feel like, getting in. But protein has so many benefits and is essential. When you build muscle, if you're someone who is trying to put on a little bit of lean tissue, well, our muscle is made of protein. And so if we don't consume enough protein, we are never going to build muscle. And if you are trying to maybe lift weights without consuming protein or too little, you can actually start to break down your muscle. So we really need protein in order to fuel our muscle. So that's one. And then the more muscle we have, the higher our metabolism is. So the more food we get to eat and the better results we're gonna get. So there's another reason. Protein is a thermogenic macronutrient. So what that means is that when we consume protein, our protein burns more calories just to digest that food versus a carbohydrate. Carbohydrates are easily digestible for the most part, whereas with protein, our body has to work extra hard to digest protein. And so we're going to naturally burn more calories just by consuming it. So there's another good reason. And it keeps us satiated. So if you eat lots of carbohydrates, again, that's going to actually increase your insulin and can, throw us off a little bit and make us feel more hungry. Whereas protein is more satiating and helps fill us up for longer. So some of the good reasons to get that protein in and kind of give you some information on protein. And fat. Fat is also essential. We need fat to survive and be healthy. I know that, just not too long ago, there was this fat-free phase that was really trendy. And that's when obesity numbers started to increase in the US, especially. fat is essential. We need fat for proper hormone production, especially as women. We need a specific amount of fat in our diet in order to be healthy. Fat is, again, essential for the hormones, and it's also essential for brain health, and it's our body's second energy fuel source. So if we have depleted all of our glycogen or carb reserves, then fat is actually another energy fuel source that our body utilizes, okay? So there's some info on each of those macronutrients for you and what they are and why you need them. And let's see, moving on to the next thing. Again, I mentioned we're not going to be talking about what your macros should be today. This is just information on macros versus calories. And then I did want to share with you, I'm going to go into a screen share really quickly. I'm going to share with you a food label, just in case you're not familiar. 1 second, let's blow this up. Oh, that's the wrong one. Sorry. Oh my. Sorry, guys. We don't want this one. This is the wrong one. Stop share. Stop share. Okay. Technical error here. We're going to go back in, and for some reason it gave me the wrong one because I didn't click on that one before. So let's see if this is going to do the same thing. It is. So we're just going to X out of that. Well, let me just find it here because I don't see it. You guys, this is what happens when technology. Okay. Are we there yet? Oh, I hope this is working. Okay, I wanted to show you guys this nutrition label. So just getting familiar with nutrition labels and where to find your macronutrient information. So this is for a Quest bar, okay? So the calories are here at the top, and I kind of take calories with a grain of salt because I'm gonna share some information that you may not know about. But calories, when it says 200 calories there, it might be lying, point blank. So the FDA does not require nutrition companies or label companies to give you the exact calorie number, I guess I could say. They can give an approximate, okay? So most labels are going to guesstimate as low as they can get away with. The FDA, I don't remember the actual like number, but it's about a 50 or so calories off that they can be on their labels. And so you'll find most labels will under budget how many calories are actually in a product. Whereas when you're looking at the macros, those are always going to be legit, okay? And so I'll talk about the math that you can, do to see if your calories match up to what the macros say in just a second. But anyway, so here you see there's the fat, there's 8 grams of fat, and if you scroll down, we have 21 grams of carbs, and then we had mentioned fiber, or no, we didn't. Did I mention fiber? Fiber is a micronutrient, so you'll always find fiber here, which is something I do have a lot of people paying attention to, so that's why I mentioned it. We have protein here as well, and then when we talk about later on micronutrients, sodium is here, we have our sugars and so forth. But today, looking at your protein, your fat at the top there is always going to be at the top. Carbs are always going to be at the middle, and then protein's always going to be at the bottom. And then if you remember from that purple triangle, or the triangle that I showed you earlier, the math where 1 gram of protein equals 4 calories, 1 gram of carbs equals 4 calories, and 1 gram of fat equals 9 calories. If you do the math, so it would be 8 times 9, and then 21 times 4, and then 21 times 4 again. I should just do the math here. The math comes to, I think, like 240. So 21 times 4, and then that's times, and then plus 84 again. That's 168. And then 168. So yes, So if you do the math on it, when I do the math, it says 240. There's really actually 240 calories in this bar, but it's claiming only to have 200. And this is why I always recommend tracking macros versus tracking calories, because your calories are almost always not going to be accurate. But when you do the math will always be the true value, okay? So that's some information and education that I like to make sure people have, is that the calories are usually never claimed accurately, but if you do the math on it yourself, you'll know. So, but when you track macros, you're always going to hit your caloric goals in the end, okay? All right, so there's that. The next thing I want to share with you, hopefully we don't have any issues, is how to track macros. So what I recommend doing to start out with is actually just like track your like create a food diary, and I'll show you how here in a second and what app I like to have people use. And instead of, doing the math of like, what should my macros be? I always recommend and encourage clients to first start out with getting an eyeball or like an idea of what your current macros looks like. If you were just to eat normally and just kind of log your food, get an idea of what your current baseline is before you actually give yourself a goal to achieve. So get an idea of what your current nutrition looks like to start out with. And then when you know what your macro goals should be, then it's going to actually be more more of an aha moment. And I'll kind of go more into that here in a sec. So let me see if I can get into this. Okay. We're going to bring this up again. Okay. So here we are. This is MyFitnessPal. Okay. So I've already logged in. I use the MyFitnessPal app. It is very user friendly. And this is my preferred like food diary or food tracking app. You can use any that you like. There's a lot of them out there. I just love MyFitnessPal because it's like the #1 app for food tracking. So the food database is the greatest probably of all the ones that you'll find out there. So that's why I use this. You can use any that you want. There's so many of them. But what you'll do is when you first start out, just start logging your food. On the PC version, up here it says food. On your diary, or excuse me, on your app version, you'll find where it says diary. And then that's where you're gonna log your food. So I've already plugged in some of my food for the day. You get to add your goals in here. So when you do know what your macro goals are, you can plug all those in, and then it keeps track for you. But just looking at this, like you go into your food, and so again, I've already logged quite a bit of my food for the day. I have a little bit left to go. But at the bottom here, again, we don't have goals set yet, okay? So you don't know what your goals are, and just because these are my goals, it does not mean this is what your goals should be. But let's see here. So, so far, I'm gonna look at the carbs. So far, I am at 92 grams of carbs. My goal is 120. My fat so far is at 18. My goal is 45. My total protein so far is 82. My goal is 135. That's what I'm gonna look at right now with you guys. So as you log things, you'll start to get to, pay attention to where your carbs, fat, and protein are for the day. So my goal, or my recommendation, I should say, is when you first start out, give yourself at least 1 to 2 to 3, maybe even a whole week's worth of days to log your food without trying, just so you can kind of see what your normal day looks like. And then later, when you actually know what your new macros should be, then it's going to give you more of an idea of what you need to focus on. Most people, and I work with women, so most women, I always find have a hard time hitting their protein goals and not so much with their carbs and fats. And so this can be like an eye opener for you as well to, you know, see where your starting point is. And then eventually, once you know your actual goals, it'll be like, oh my gosh, I really need to work on getting that protein in, or whatever, you know, your vice might be. So, I don't think there's like a whole lot more I can show you on this. I do, like I said, the app version is more user friendly in my opinion. And there's a free version and a paid for version. I have no affiliation with this app, so again, I don't make money for, like, you know, talking about it. But if there's another app that you prefer, feel free to use what you know and what you will use. Okay, so this is, again, is the app, and you, I guess, like if you needed to add a food, you would go to, say, like for afternoon, maybe I'll have, I don't know what I'm gonna have, but you click on add food. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. You just, you know, search for it and so forth, and then it'll plug it in. Let's say I had some dark chocolate, and then add check. And so that'll add to your diary, and then it'll keep track for you. And when you know what your goals are, when you've hit your goal, you stop. All right, so that's how you'll do that. All right, so ending there. Last thing I'll show you, and if you end up seeing this video as part of my program, I will share this slide with you, but for now you can maybe screenshot it. One last thing is, some people don't really know what a protein food is, or a carb food is, or a fat food is. And so I have a macro cheat sheet here for you. So if you want to screenshot it, go for it. But this helps people a lot too, because some people really don't know, you know, what foods consist of being a carbohydrate, a protein, or fat. And most foods are going to consist of multiple macros. I mean, a lot of foods have all three, okay? And so with this little cheat sheet here is going to share with you, you know, what foods would consist of like a carbohydrate. These overlapping ones would be carbs with proteins in them. Here's some protein options, proteins with fats, and then here's some fat ideas. So the list goes on and on, but here's a little macro cheat sheet. Again, screenshot that if you need something to refer to. It really, really helps. So I just wanted to end with that for you guys, so you can kind of get an idea of, well, what is like a food that would be considered a carbohydrate? What about a protein? What about a fat? And again, like I said, excuse me, you're gonna notice that most foods are interlapped. It's not just gonna be a carb, it's not gonna be just a protein or a fat, but a lot of foods have, you know, all three macros even. And so those all add up. All right. Okay, well, let's see. I think that about does it for today. So again, just to kind of wrap things up, that was just an explanation of what macros are and the difference between just tracking macros and calories, and then how to track those as well. So using your app, MyFitnessPal is a good one. There's Macros Plus, there's Lose It. There's so many apps these days. So whichever one works best for you. Log your food for a day or two, or you know, several. Get an idea of what your baseline is to start, and that's actually going to be most beneficial for you going forward when it comes to actually learning, or when it comes to actually focusing on your target like macro goals. So on the next video, we will actually be talking about how you're going to find your macros. So that'll be fun. All right, I hope you guys learned something and found some value in this, and I am really looking forward to sharing more, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day.